Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, God of Heroics, and today we are actually doing a review on Daima again. But today we're gonna do a three-part series. Basically, I ended up not doing a review for the past two episodes, which was 13 and 14. And primarily because in episode 13, nothing really happened. And then around the time that 14 came out, I was sick. And now episode 15 is out. So I just caught up on those last two episodes. So I'm just going to do a quick little review on it. Mostly because for most of this runtime, nothing freaking happened. I'm genuinely serious. Episode 13, basically nothing happened. Episode 14, damn near nothing happened, but we did get a little bit more lore about the Namekians, or the Nambics rather. And then episode 15, a lot of stuff really popped off. So we're just gonna jump right into this. So if you like these type of videos, please like the video, subscribe to the page, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified to all future uploads. And without further ado, let's get started. So, episode 13. I'ma literally tell you everything that happened, and it's not even gonna take that long. So King Goma got upset that Vegeta and Goku and the rest of them ended up getting the second Dragon Ball, and he decided to tell Degetsu to turn off Warp Samas, so now they can't use Warp Sama as a way to get to and fro different worlds. That's essentially it. There was a bunch of other shit that happened, but it's not important. Did a little bit of world building where they showed off a race of giants and then basically told us that there's another race of giants that's even bigger than them, and that's pretty much it. I mean, their ship broke down, they had to fight a giant dog and then a giant child, and then their ship started working again and they were flying. So, basically, the next episode comes in, episode 14. The gang arrives at Warp Sama. They are like, oh, it's turned off. So how do we get to the next demon world? And they're like, well, there's this giant hole that's been covered up. So with a magic seal, so we can't make it to Demon World 1 or 2. So we had to use Warp Sama, and Warp Sama is, still shut off. So we find out that the Nambics, or Neva specifically, created those giant shields, those giant magic seals, so that nobody could get to and fro the different worlds. And it was primarily because the Nambics want to pretty much live in peace and not really have to deal with any other crazy races, mostly because they were races that were coming from the first world, and they were essentially just bullying with racism and classism all the other races, and they basically got tired of that shit and decided, yeah, we're just gonna seal y'all off. We're not gonna deal with you guys anymore. And that nonsense is partially responsible for why a lot of the Nambics ended up leaving the demon world in the first place. So they find out that if you touch the seals, you basically get shocked. And it's enough to basically kill most people. Goku didn't die, but he passed out essentially. Anyway, Neva undoes the seal because he seems to be very interested in the continuation of this adventure, or maybe Neva has a wish of his own. Who knows? It seems like everybody has something they want. King Goma has a wish that he wants, which we're gonna get into because I'm a little confused on his wish. Dr. Arinsu has a wish she wants. Goku and his friends have a wish they want. Neva might have a wish that he wants. Who knows? Anyway, they go through the hole and they make it to the next demon world. And then King Goma and all of them see that they're descending on the first demon world, and they're like, oh shit. Send every single soldier that we have in existence to go fight those guys. Also, we found out that they have their own little Ginyu force called the Gendarmerie Force, which is, a very lazy name because they're already called the Gendarmerie. That's what their army's called, the Gendarmerie Army, and then they have Gendarmerie troops, and now that's just the Gendarmerie Force. So, whatever. Also, side note, the Gendarmerie Force are actually kind of nice and wholesome. They go to a convenience store and they meet Do and Ku there, who are buying 2 chocolate bars, and they actually buy the chocolate bars for them. So, pretty nice of them. But yeah, that's pretty much it for episode 14 as well. So, I'm sorry that both 13 and 14 get reviewed so fast, but you see why I didn't give them their own episodes. Like, this video is already like 5 minutes long, and I've just done my intro and gone over 2 episodes. But now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of things, because episode 15 is actually stacked with some pretty big information. So, something that I didn't mention because it didn't seem important at the time, Hybis, his belt, the Hybis, the assistant of King Caden, who is Pansy's father, his belt has an eyeball on it, and he says that it's kind of interesting because it's like sentient. I thought nothing of it because this is like the demon world, and we've seen all kinds of weird shit. Like, we've seen dumplings with a mouth, so like I'm not really surprised to see a belt with an eyeball as a buckle, especially with the eyeball looking around like it's sentient. They said it was gross. I think it was Boma or Pansy, one of the two, said it was gross, and I'm like, it's the demon world. It's some weird shit. Like, weird stuff is gonna happen. Anyway, so he said that basically he just found the eye, and and then he put it on his belt. He thought it looked cool. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Again, this is the demon world. Weirder shit has happened. So, in episode 15, we get some pretty interesting lore drops. So, first off, this episode begins with Goku and friends descending like they did in the previous episode. Basically, their ship wasn't going to make it all the way through that giant hole and all this nonsense that was going on with the weather and whatnot. So, they made it through, and then they all jumped. Everybody's flying, except, Bulma, who can't fly. She's literally the only one who couldn't, so Vegeta's carrying her. And then they start getting shot at by all the troops that King Goma sent out there to go attack. There's this long, drawn-out scene where they're, trying to survive, running and ducking and hiding, attacking back, and whatever. Basically, they end up getting their shit together, winning this giant war, or this small battle, rather, giant battle, whatever. And they defeat all the enemies. Then they start moving closer to the castle, where they get met with a huge amount of more troops. And those troops are also firing at them, a bigger group than the ones that they were met with the first time. So they got to fight their way through all these people. And then we get some interesting lore. King Goma is looking at the battle, and he sees Hybis, and he's like, oh shit. Degesu, his belt is the third eye, or the Tertarian Oculus is what it's actually called. And Degesu's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. King Abra, before Deborah, he had that on his forehead. And he's like, Degesu's like, well, a lot of demon eyes look like that, but whatever. And now I'm sitting here like, yeah, Degesu, like, the weirder shit has happened in the demon world. Like, it's just an eyeball, bro. But I guess it's the third eye. It is, because they give this really huge lore drop. Like, they cut the scene to do some, like, exposition. Basically, what we find out is that the eye, the Tertarian Oculus, or the third eye, has been used by many Demon Kings. And we actually get to see multiple Demon Kings. So, they show us 3, I think, that were all using the third eye. And basically, all 3 of them use the third eye for unbelievable, unimaginable, magic power, blah, 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 being the strongest being in the entire known demon realm and having no match. So basically, you are the supreme ruler over pretty much everyone and everything, because no one can defeat you. So, when this eye comes into possession of Demon King Abra, who I think is the 4th Demon King. If they showed us all the Demon Kings, then yes, he would be the 4th or 5th, because there was the original guy who, talked to Rymus and expanded the worlds, which is how we got more than just the demon world. We got the outer worlds and the different universes, but yada yada yada. So, according to what we've seen, if this is all the Demon Kings, King Abra is the 5th Demon King, with Deborah being the 6th and Goma being the 7th. Anyway, so Abra had the eye, and he, was all powerful, blah, 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 but apparently he didn't wear it all the time. And Deborah basically had some cockroach-looking assistant, and he gave him a key and told him, hey, go into my father's safe tonight. I'll keep all the guards distracted. You steal the eye and hide it in the 3rd demon world where nobody will find it. Where it will be extremely hard to find. And then his plan afterwards was to, defeat his father and become the Demon King. So, plan goes off basically without a sitch. Cockroach Dude steals the third eye. He flies his little ship all the way to the second demon world, then the third, and he seems to be doing perfectly fine. And then he gets basically annihilated by this giant beast in the third demon world, or giant demon in the third demon world. And he ends up dropping the eye, falls off a cliff, and that's pretty much where it stays until Hybis finds it, the eyeball, and then he plants it into his belt. During this time, after the cockroach thing was defeated, the bird tried to contact him, but the giant demon crushed his communicator. So the bird never saw that roach motherfucker ever again, and then he goes on to defeat his father and become the next Demon King. And after he gets killed and defeated by Majin Buu, his vice leader, or second in command, who is Goma, is now the new Demon King. That is how Goma came into power. Anyway, Goma tells Degetsu to go steal the third eye. First of all, there's a fucking war going on outside, so I'm on Degetsu's side of looking at this nonsense and being like, are you fucking serious? And then he asks him, like, how do you want me to do that? He's like, well, you're smart, you'll figure out. He's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. So everybody's running, hiding, trying not to get shot. And Ibis is apparently by himself looking at a rock, I guess. So, interesting thing that happens, by the way. Degetsu transforms, or shapeshifts, whatever, uses magic, turns into a woman, and has this weird-ass hat on. To be honest, if I saw this hat, I'd be like, you kind of bad, but like, the fuck is on your head? But, one, I know it's Degetsu. I'm not into that Loki nonsense. But anyway, Degetsu's like, hey, I like that belt. And Hypus is like, oh yeah, it is a pretty cool belt. I love it. It's like one of my favorite things. And he's like, if I really want the belt, I'll trade you. If you give me the belt, I'll give you a kiss. And Hypus is like, nah, I don't want no fucking kiss, bro. But that hat is kind of cool. And he's like, I'll trade you for the hat. And he's like, okay. So Hypus gives Degetsu the belt, and Degetsu, who still looks like a woman, gives Hypus the hat, and it's like, that was easy, but now I'm insulted. I'm like, yeah, you thought you was a bad bitch, but one, W mans for Hypus, because Hypus has a girlfriend, as he's been stating throughout this entire show. So good to know he's not taking some kiss from some random hussy he just met. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason why. I would have liked it if he had just said, oh, well, I have a girlfriend, so I don't want it. But I think it's actually a little bit more hilarious that he's just like, nah, I'm not interested, basically. That's way better to me. But anyway, Degetsu has the belt, or the third eye in general. And then he goes back to King Goma, and it's just like, hey, you're like, what's going on with the battle? So Goku and friends were they thought they won. They pretty much took out everyone. And then tanks showed up and started blasting. And it seemed like it was over for our heroes, even though I haven't seen a single Super Saiyan transformation in this entire battle. And while it seems like they're doomed, King Caden and some of his soldiers show up, and they start destroying all these tanks. And then they get shot by this giant tank blast, which is damn near a nuke. And then they just survived that. There was no explanation for this, by the way. They just survived because the plot demanded it. And Pansy is so happy to see her father, and they have this really huge battle that just looks like something ripped straight out of Dragon Quest. Like, it's like those giant army battles. It looked like you were playing like Dragon Quest Heroes or watching a Dragon Quest Heroes cutscene or something. But it was just this cool battle with King Caden and his elites, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and all of them fighting side by side, destroying the rest of the Gendarmerie soldiers. And Goku even turns Super Saiyan and flexes on all these dudes. I think Vegeta also went Super Saiyan, but I could be gaslighting myself. But anyway, the battle went through. Everything was pretty cool, and that's pretty much where the episode ended. I mean, Degetsu mentioned to Goma, like, hey, we still got the Gendarmerie force, so I'm kind of interested in what's going to happen in episode 16 to see if this Ginyu Force ripoff actually ends up being powerful in any right. And I'm more interested in possibly what's going to happen and 17 because I do want to see Ku and Du get into a battle with some of our Z fighters, and I want to see Dr. Ritsu get involved and all that, but that's all to come later. But that's pretty much everything that happened in this episode. But yeah, like I said, I'm just more excited to see future battles. I hear that this show is going to be over soon next month, so it's going to have like 20 episodes. So we got like 5 more episodes to get a fight with Du and Ku, to see Goma get the third eye if he gets it, because Degasu has it and just hasn't handed it to him for whatever reason, unless that person that transformed wasn't Degasu and instead it was like Dr. Arinsu. So that'd be cool if it's Dr. Arinsu, because now she would have a Dragon Ball. She would almost have the other 2 Dragon Balls because she's working with Glorio, and then she would also have the third eye. So seeing Arinsu become like the Demon King or the Supreme Demon King would be so badass. But that's just what I want. But anyway, we'll see when the next episodes come. And that's basically gonna be it for me. Like to subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell, and I suppose I will just see you guys in the next one. Tell me in the comments what you think is going to happen. Let me know how you feel about the episode and what what you're more excited for. Anyway, see you guys. Peace.